I think what you're saying, what I find so interesting in what you're saying about thinking of different scenarios of the future. We do get wedded to one view, right? We see one model or one way of looking at things, but this idea that we have to bridge those data gaps and consider, alternatives to one sort of view. I think that's really helpful to us. Andy, you're an educator, a financial expert. What do you think sets FMI apart? We do consider it the leading financial modeling accreditation program, but tell us in your words, why do you think it's above the rest?
So the word experiential has been used in this program, and that's what really makes the FMI stand out. Not only is it really it is the first mover in the credentialing space for financial modeling. It's one of the only financial credentials that relies upon proving that you know how to do something. To gain the AFM, you have to build a financial model in the examination. It's not a multiple choice choose from A through D. You actually have to build something and show that you can do it, and that is the future of skill credentialing worldwide. In my assessment, we have to shift from the current assessment environment where it's primarily multiple choice or short essay to being able to show and prove to an employer that you have the skills, because so many employers have been burned so many times by somebody coming in with some letters behind their name that ostensibly show prove that they can do something, and then they get into the world of work and they really don't know how to do it. So that's what excites me the most about FMI, and it's just going to be an iterative process of getting that right, so that you can have experiential assessment at scale for not just FMI's credentials, but we want to lead the way and show the world that you can do this kind of thing at scale.
Yeah, so experiential, major kind of point that you raised about, what separates the work that FMI is doing, that applies in a lot of other areas. And I think it's, one of the themes too, Andy, that you and I have always talked a lot about, is how we need to produce people who are kind of both broadly educated and specifically skilled. And obviously experiential is a really major part of that. But it's a segue back to Paul too here, where I believe, if I've got it right, Paul, you've got, your degree is in history, but you've had a career in finance. And we at Kaplan, we've spoken a lot about the value of blending what many people would call a traditional liberal arts degree with some sort of specific industry recognized skill or credential. I mean, clearly that's a little bit of your own personal background, but what's your sense of that as our path forward potentially? Is it about both the liberal arts and the specific skills? I would love to hear some of your thoughts.
Well, thank you. I mean, I am. I wasn't a rarity when I started out. I mean, one of the problems of being very old is that you become this kind of dinosaur. 40 years ago, when I started work, most people in finance had liberal arts degrees, and we kind of have forgotten that. I mean, obviously, that changed a huge amount 20 years ago. I think a few things. I mean, historically, if I could say that, back in the good old days, a couple of 100 years ago, we didn't have this separation between liberal arts and the sciences. You just received an education which included both, and to our detriment as a species, if you like, we've sort of learned to stream people down these two channels, and it's not helpful. And educationalists, I think, are wrestling with that. how do we help people? And I think actually, oddly enough, the US system, which often comes in for a lot of criticism, the US educational system keeps people broader for much, much longer than, for instance, the UK educational system does. So you guys over there do a better job than we do. So that's the key. People are looking for this unicorn, if you like, this T-shaped person who has all of the people skills, all of the strategic thought, all of the lateral ability, all the communication skills, plus really deep technical knowledge. I mean, that's the person that we're looking for, and all too rarely find. So at the moment, the way the world works is you kind of look for two different species, really, and hope that you can find people that can talk to both. Um, I, I always like to say that just because you studied history, I mean, obviously, people study history for a lot of reasons, one of which is because they can't add up. But a lot of historians, such as myself, are actually quite numerate. We just happen to like history more than we like math in terms of something that we wanted to spend 3 years of our time studying. And so when I came down from university, I did an accountancy qualification, then I did the CFA qualification, and added those more numerical or numerate disciplines to my liberal arts education. And obviously, as Andy was saying, both are valuable. You can't be in finance without some basic competence in mathematics. That's just not possible. But nor do you have to be a nuclear physicist or you don't have to be a PhD to be able to really master the concepts of finance. To be really deep in whatever discipline, yes, that was certainly beyond me in my career, and so I compensated by looking at all the other things in a business that are important: the communication, strategic thought, motivating people, communicating with clients, trying to get people to align behind organizational goals, strategic thought development, product development. All of those good things require a whole range of skills. And I think that's the way the world is unfortunately developing. Is that people are increasingly specialized within finance, and that's why this concept of sort of micro credentials and life learning is so important, because whichever way your bent is in life, if I can put it that way, you need to add skills from across the spectrum if you want to make a real success of your career and get to the very top of the organization that you're working in. And so I think those are really important lessons for educators like ourselves at FMI, like yourselves at Kaplan, to really take to heart. That it's trying to blend technical competence with broader competencies, that is really the way of the future. And whilst we all seek out this unicorn generation that hopefully will reveal themselves in due course to us.
Well, I'm glad there's an exciting future for history in the middle of all this, as a good summary there. But in any
I,
event, Densha, I'll hand it back to you.
I was going to say the one thing that the current world situation teaches us is there's definitely a role for historians.
Always. I would say that as someone who majored in English, then went back and got an MBA and specialized in finance, I concur. I agree with you, Paul. You do have to be a T-shaped individual. We often call those skills that like strategic thought soft skills, right? And it almost implies that they're not as important as the hard skills. Now, Andy, for you as an educator, can you tell us in your mind, when we think about the whole soft skill, hard skill debate, what skills really help can students stand out or people stand out today?
Yeah, I like to talk about four key areas here. The first area is financial acumen, which we've already described, and that starts in our primary schools with solid mathematical foundations, and frankly, just making math less scary for the general population. Everybody can learn mathematics, but we tell ourselves that we can't, that it's too hard, and we put up these artificial blockers. The second area of skill that is super important for the future is that of business acumen. We've talked about hyper specialization in this show, and what that does is it puts blinders on the average individual in an organization where they either can't or won't see beyond the walls of their particular function. So business acumen means seeing and understanding the inner workings and how everything fits together within an organization. Number 3 is all things what I like to call human skill. So I'm trying to rebrand, as many people are, this concept of quote unquote soft skills, because empathy, compassion, emotional intelligence, communication, mental agility, followership, these are all things that are very, very difficult to bring on board and to hone. Every time I think I'm done with my human tool set, human skill tool set, I'm consistently reminded that I have a lot more work to do, and so that's never done. And then the last one is data and digital literacy. I'll rip a page out of Paul's playbook. When he was on my show earlier this year, he talked about coding skills. And so when I talk about data and digital literacy, I'm talking about, you have to understand where all of the data that your company, your institution is generating, the mountains of data, where does that come from? How do we use it? And not leave that to specialists. And one of the most important things that I did in my career was I was a computer science minor when I was an undergraduate, and I learned how to code. And I think everybody, given the fact that artificial intelligence is coming to a theater near you, everything is being digitized, everybody should understand at least the basics of how a computer program works, so that the world doesn't happen to you. You have some understanding of how everything fits together, so that our future is less scary for many of us.
Well, and again, I love the idea of making math less scary and the future less scary, Andy. Both of you have given us some really great perspective here today. And so on behalf of Dientje and myself and Bold Leaders in Learning, just wanted to say thank you for carving out the time to join us. Andy, Paul, best of luck with the evolution of the Financial Modeling Institute, and eager to hear about all of its progress in the years to come. So thank you both for your leadership of all of that.